welcome to Once Upon a Die. Hello everybody, and welcome to Once Upon a Die. I apologise for the slight delay in getting this stream started. I had some difficulties. My stream key had been reset, and I didn't catch that, so I was trying to stream on a non-existent stream key. I am now sorted, so apologies if you've been hanging around for a few minutes, but welcome. So today we are going to be streaming a game that I am really looking forward to sharing with you guys, and it is this guy here. It's A Wonderful World. This is something I am very, very fortunate to have been sent by Lucky Duck Games. This is the European box cover that you're looking at right now. The North American release is this guy, which has, oops, where is it? Lucky Duck Games over here. And they sent me a copy of this to put on the stream, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you to them for providing me with a review copy to play for you guys today. This, unlike some of the games that I've been playing on my stream recently that I was sent, this is not a Kickstarter preview. This is an available game, and this is a fully published copy that I've been sent. So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much to Lucky Duck. So It's a Wonderful World. This is a engine building, card drafting, hand management game. Essentially, we are looking to create an empire and make that empire successful, and we do so through a variety of mechanisms that I will explain forthwith. But we are basically looking to create our empire, and we do that by drafting cards. Anybody who's played Seven Wonders will kind of understand the premise of how this plays out, but it is not the same. Not the same game at all. You're still going to be doing that thing of drafting from 7 cards that you're going to pass around the table, but how those cards are used is very, very different to Seven Wonders. But it just gives you an anchor to sort of understand the foundation of this game, if you are familiar with it. But let me shrink myself down, and let's bring... Oops, don't want to disappear completely. Oh, and I missed that. I've had to reset my streaming setup. My situation downstairs changed very slightly, and I had to sort of slightly rejig things, so I changed things around this morning, and hadn't had a chance to fully test fire everything before I needed to go live. It was a little bit last minute. Anyway, so here's our board. It's a very, very cool board. I really like this layout. This is just showing the order of how things happen, and that will make a little bit more sense in just a second. The rest of the game is played with this extremely solid deck of cards. There's a lot of cards in this game, but it's great because it's fairly... I don't want to say component-light, because as you can see, there's quite a few components, but it's not overly complicated once you've sort of got a handle on what's going on. I'm just going to show you a card. Let's pick one that has all of the features on it. Yeah, this'll do. So this is what the cards in this game look like. Like so. So this is the Secret Laboratory. It looks like there's an enormous amount going on, but actually it's fairly self-explanatory once you kind of understand all the component parts of this. It's not complicated at all. Here on the left-hand side, we have the cost. I'm just going to... I want to, as a point of reference for myself, I've got too into the habit of saying blue cube, yellow cube, green cube when I play this, but I want to actually name things properly. So there on the left-hand side, you can see that this is going to cost 2 materials, which is this grey gear icon, and 3 gold, which is the money icon. And this is a project card. The yellow resource is gold, the yellow cards are projects. And that's symbolized by this guy down here. So it's going to cost 2 materials and 3 gold by this strip here. It is going to give me, immediately on construction, 1 crystallium, which is the red resource. And I'll talk about this in a moment. And it will produce, every turn, these 2 green symbols down at the bottom means every turn it will produce 2 science. So this card will cost me something, it will produce something else. At the end of the game, I will get one point for every research card that I have played, which is what that little bottom left-hand symbol means. And I can throw the card away to get a science. That sounds like a lot of mumbo-jumbo, but having sort of said that to you, hopefully that will now make sense as I explain it as we teach. I'm going to shuffle the decks of cards up right now. I didn't want to do this off stream, just because you can get some rather extraordinary shuffles in this, where you shuffle 3 of something together. I've had this happen, and I did not want to make it look like I've stacked the deck by having something come up that was a little bit more extraordinary than you might expect. So I figured I would shuffle on stream, just so that you can see. Again, I mentioned this in a previous video, but no, I cannot stack decks. I don't know how to do that, how to shuffle a card to the top. So this is me legit shuffling. Oops. And it really does matter in this, because especially if you've, like in your last game, I've seen people like organize their cards so that they are in like collections of stuff that produces this resource or whatever, and obviously you want to split those back up again. The art in this, incidentally, is absolutely fantastic, and I'm just going to bring up quickly. We have our 2 at the top of the box there. Frédéric Guérard is the designer of this, and Anthony Wolf is the artist. And I was taken quite some time ago. I saw information about this online, and I was really taken back then with the art style. And I still am. I think the art in this game is fantastic. Okay, we have 1 shuffled deck of cards. Now, normally, said deck of cards would go just up here, and then this is your spot for your discard pile. I'm going to use this, but I'm going to put the deck over there just so that I have space. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to put the deck down here, just in this corner here, so you guys can still see it. But this game spreads out fairly rapidly. Now, the first thing we've got to do is pick who we're going to play as. There are 5 empires in the game. We could be the Aztec Empire. We can be the Federation of Asia. We can be the Noram States. We could be the Republic of Europe. Or we could be the Pan-African Union. These cards are double-sided. On the back, even though they have the same artwork and they have the name and symbol of the country, these on the back side are all the same, in the sense that these 4 symbols are the same. On this side, the Republic of Europe has that sequence, but everybody else has a different sequence. And in addition, there's a bonus scoring mechanism that you get bonus points for at the end of the game. When you're playing this multiplayer, obviously, everybody is going to play with the same side of the card and have the same handicap. So you'll either have different things in a different scoring system, or you will all be identical. In a solitaire game, if you're all identical, your score at the end of the game is your score at the end of the game. But if you play with the player power side, you actually subtract 15 points from your score before you get your final score. And there's a ranking system at the end of the game that states how well you did. So if you get less than 60 points, you're a rookie and you're not really very good at running the world. If you get 60 or more points, it scores you in a ranking system, 60, 80, and 100 plus. But you lose, or you take away 15 points if you play with the side that has the player power on it. I am going to do that just because I think it makes for an interesting setup. And I'm just going to blindly shuffle and pick whoever ends up on top. I've played 3 of these countries before. Pan-African Union. Okay, so the Pan-African Union, you can see up the top here, produces 2 materials and 2 science at the end of the game, in each turn of the game. If we were on the back, we'd be producing 2 materials, 1 energy, and 1 science. So what the Pan-African Union is creating is not inherently that different from the basic side, but it does make a difference, and it does change kind of how the game plays for you. I'm going to tuck this, I'm going to move the mouse actually. The mouse is not in a good place for this game. I'm going to tuck this down here, and the reason I'm putting it all the way down here is as we build cards, we're going to stack them here so that you can easily just look at a column of what you produce. So what the rest of the board looks like quickly, and then we'll get into the final setup. Up here we have our turn tracker, 4 turns in the game. And this rather cool piece tells you, again, if you played Seven Wonders, you're used to the idea that you draw 1 of 7 cards and then hand them to the next person, and you take from the person on your other side, look at the 6 cards you've been given, draw 1, pass it round, take one from the 5, and so on and so forth. And each era of Seven Wonders, you switch direction. That's exactly the same here. So on this first turn, we would pass our hands anti-clockwise for the next player to draw, and then when it comes to turn 2, you flip over this piece, and now it says clockwise, first round. Now it says we're passing anti-clockwise. And then we flip it again, and now we're passing clockwise again. Now that doesn't matter in a solitaire game because there's no one you're going to be passing to, but it's just a really cool feature of the game. We almost don't need the turn tracker, and the reasons for that will become clear shortly. Alright, so other pieces that we're looking at here. You'll see the cubes. These cubes are the resources I was talking about earlier. So we have materials, we have energy, we have science, we have gold, and we have exploration. Yes, exploration. Those are the 5 sort of basic resources in the game. Then down here, the red, we have Crystallium. Crystallium is a wild card that can be used to represent any of the 5 resources, but we may also need to use it for itself. And then these tokens over here, we have financiers and generals. And you'll notice that those are also... where's it gone? Those are the characters from the front of the box. Which is a really cool piece of art design. I like that. Those are also resources. These are the only 2 resources that are worth points at the end of the game. If you have a bunch of everything else left over, you've just been inefficient, and you don't get bonus points for that. In addition to that, you'll notice at the top of each of the 5 circles where these resources are being held, you will see logos representing financiers and generals. Those are for what are called, oh goodness, what is the correct term for them? I call them superiority bonus, but that's not technically correct. What are they called? Production phase, doop-a-doop-a-doop-boop. Supremacy bonus. When you get a supremacy bonus, you get that in the multiplayer game by producing, in that turn, more of that resource than anybody else. So if I produce more science than any other player in the multiplayer game, I get the supremacy bonus. In the solitaire game, because you're not competing against anyone, you get those if you produce 5 or more of those resources in one turn. And what that means is, if I produce 5 or more materials in a turn, I get a financier. I just take one of these. If I do that for gold, I also get a financier. If I do it for energy or exploration, I get a general. And if I do it for science, I get to pick which of the 2 I take. So I might have a benefit. Now, for example, if I was playing the Republic of Europe, at the end of the game, they actually get a bonus point for every general that they have. And the NORAM states are the same, but for financiers. Now, the base... state of the Pan-African Union doesn't actually make a difference to that, but they are still each worth a point at the end of the game. I might play a card at some point that makes them more valuable, in which case I would be interested in focusing on that particular resource. If I have a card that says I get a bonus point for generals, obviously I want to play more generals. Hopefully that all makes sense. If anyone's got any questions, do ask in the chat. And I'm now going to set up for the solitaire mode. So what you would do in multiplayer, and this game really does vary quite a lot from multiplayer to solitaire. When you play multiplayer, you would deal each player 7 cards, and then you would do this moving it round the table, taking 1 card from each hand as you get them. And once you have your 7 cards, you play. In the solitaire game, you deal out 8 stacks of 5 cards each, and then you play from those, and you play all 8 stacks. So in the 4 turns of a multiplayer game, you will see 28 cards. In the 4 turns of a solo game, you will play 40. So there's quite a substantial difference there in how things play out. There is also an extra action in the solitaire game. And we'll come on to that in a second. I'm just going to take one more little stack of cards from the middle of this deck. I'm just going to shuffle them up once more, and then I'm going to deal out the 14. Ooh! Flying cards. There we go. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. So there's our cards. The deck stays in play. Jen says, will there be trees of green and red razors too? Oh wait, that's What a Wonderful World. That's totally reasonable. When I was announcing this, that I was going to be doing this on the stream I did 7 or 8 days ago, I had to stop and actually think about what the game was called because I wanted to call it What a Wonderful World. And in my head, the song has actually temporarily become It's a Wonderful World because this is just stuck in there right now. Okay, so we have our 8 stacks of 5 cards. Now, turn 1, I'm simply going to pick any random one of the 8 stacks. So I'm going to take this one. And these are the 5 cards I'm going to get to play to start with. So let's just have a look and see what we have. This game, incidentally, I'm going to take some time over this stream because I think this game is worth really thinking about. I played a refresher game for myself just because I hadn't played this for a few days and I wanted to refresh myself before this stream. I played a refresher game of this and I blasted through it in 20 minutes. The box says this game is 45, and I think for a multiplayer game that's probably quite accurate. For a solo game, you really can, if you have an idea of what you're doing, you can zap through this very quickly. That said, I did not score well. So I think that, you know, it bears a little bit more thought. And I'm going to take some time with this. But if you want this to be a very quick game, it can be. If you would rather it takes a bit more time, that's fine too. So we have the Bermuda Triangle. I'm going to remind myself, just make sure I'm calling everything by the correct name. This isn't a blue card, this is a discovery card. So this is a discovery card. It's going to cost me 4 exploration if I want to build it. Exploration is probably the trickiest resource to create, other than Crystallium, obviously. I'm not sure. I don't really know. I haven't checked through the deck to see whether everything bears out equally or whether things are actually harder. But I think exploration is the harder resource to create. It will give me a Crystallium flat out if I build it, and it will produce science for me. It's worth 4 points at the end of the game. Also, and this is where I come on to talk about the different actions I can do, I can throw it away for a science. Now, when I take one of these cards, I am going to begin with, I just draft. And once I've drafted everything, I then have to decide what I'm going to do with all of it. And what that means is, just looking, for example, I'll just show you this quickly. Here is the turn phase. We have the draft phase, the planning phase, and the production phase. So in the draft phase, all you're doing is taking the card. You pick up your 7 cards as you go round, and you simply say, I'm taking that card. You haven't decided what you're doing with it yet. Then you go into the planning phase, and in the planning phase, you say, I'm going to build this card. I'm going to try and build, or I guess discover, the Bermuda Triangle. In which case, I'm going to put it into my construction area, and it's going to be, I'm going to need to create get 4 exploration to discover it. Or I could say, I don't want the Bermuda Triangle, but I'm interested in this piece of science that I could get by maybe studying this concept briefly, and I'm just going to discard the card. I'm never going to get to build it, but I get that 1 science. And what that 1 science could go on this card that I have decided to build that requires science. Alright, with me so far? I can discard a card to immediately take the resource that it benefits me from here and place it onto a card I've already committed to building. Or, I don't have to put it there, I could put it down here onto my Empire card. There might be occasions where you genuinely want to do that, but usually that's a Hail Mary that you don't want to do. And I'll come on to the reasons why in a second. In addition, in the Solitaire mode, there is an additional action that does not exist in the multiplayer game. I can take 2 of these cards and discard them to draw 4 cards from the top of the deck and keep 1. So I'm throwing a net of 1 card away because I'm going to get rid of 2 and I'm going to gain 1. But I gain 1 from the 4 that I could pull. So if I'm not interested in any of these cards, because I'm not interested in, what are they called? Project cards. So I don't want this one, and I'm not producing anything else. With this hand, that would be ridiculous. But let's just say for a second that was the case. I could throw 2 cards away, draw 4, keep 1, and I might change up what I've got. It lets me dig through my deck more. And in this game, you can actually play Solitaire Scenarios too, and the scenarios say, by the end of the game, you have to have constructed this, 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 and this. And that's also a means of digging through the deck to find those cards. Because the other element... and I'll use the Research Center, for example, so that's this card here. This number 7 up here means there are 7 of that card in this deck. But if my solo scenario says I have to build the Bermuda Triangle by the end of the game, there's only 1 Bermuda Triangle in the deck, which means I have to go digging for it if I haven't drawn it myself. So that's kind of the logic that's in play there. I just realized I'm going to need a bit more space than I gave myself to play, so I'm going to bring some of these decks across just to create a little more space. Can you also see? Yes, you can still see all of those. Okay, great. So, Bermuda Triangle. Costs 4 exploration, gives me a Crystallium outright, produces a science every turn, worth a science if I bin it. Also worth 4 points at the end of the game. Remember, 60 points is the benchmark where if you get under 60, you're not good enough to rule the world. If you get 60 or more, you're good enough to rule the world. So therefore, 60 points is, as much as there is one, the benchmark for winning. Technically, you just score in this game. But for me, if there's a win condition that says you don't really get to do it, or a scoring condition, rather, for my personal taste, and for example, when I'm keeping records of my game stats on Board Game Geek, I win the game as long as I have got the score that first says... Oh, I just reached for the mouse in the exploration cube. That first says you're good enough to do this. So that's how that works. So, with that borne in mind, so that's the Bermuda Triangle. I have 2 research centers in my hand. These cost 3 materials and 1 energy. They produce 2 science a turn, and they're worth a science if I bin them. So I've got 2 of those, and these are structure cards, the grey ones. Here's a project. It's World Congress. It costs me 6 gold and 2 financiers. So I need these guys, which means I have to find a way to get them. But it's worth excuse me. It's worth 3 points at the end of the game for every project card I have played. So if I take this, I'm kind of saying I'm going to start taking yellow. And it will, if I throw it away, it will give me a gold. Finally, I have the universal vaccine. This costs me 3 science. It's worth a gold if I throw it away. And this gives me 1 point for every yellow card, every project card that I have at the end of the game. So I could take both of these, and every project card I play is going to be worth 4 points. Just for having it, which makes World Congress is suddenly worth 4 points. But it's a fairly hefty... I mean, I could build Universal Vaccine in 2 turns based on what I get. Oh, I do not have that yet. Based on what I get here. Right, so the one thing I didn't mention. If I have cubes that I've had to place onto my Empire card, they're useless. I can't get them back. But as soon as I have 5 cubes of any combination of colours, I put them all back and I take a Crystallium. So that's the worth of putting them on here. And maybe I'm not... to get that final card at the very end of the game, I'm not producing enough of one resource. I can push to get a Crystallium to use as a wild. That's the logic there. Just as a note, financiers and generals cannot be replaced by Crystallium. Any other symbol can, any of the 5 resource symbols, but Crystallium cannot replace people. So, I produce science, and at the end of the game, because I'm the Pan-African Union, I'm going to get 2 bonus points for every science card that I have, which makes this relatively cheap universal vaccine fairly logical thing for me to get, because it's not an expensive card. I can build that in 2 turns if I don't do anything different. And if I produce more science, I'm going to get it quicker. But it's also not producing anything for me. I'm not... constructing this card, putting this research card into play, is not actually going to get me any additional resources. And that's the decision you have to make early on. Like, I need more resources because the whole point is this is an engine builder. Like, you win this game by constructing an engine that generates more and more resources for you every turn. So do I want to get 2 quick points plus a point for every yellow card that I build in the future by putting this out now? Or do I want to save my science resources to potentially you know, have for other cards that I might draw in my next stack. I'm going to draft this, so I'm not going to discard it inherently. The solo mode, incidentally, the draft phase and the planning phase, it's got, it actually says right here, skip the draft phase. Because the first planning phase thing is pick up one of these. You're drafting these stacks, essentially, but there isn't a draft phase. So I'm just deciding on the fly what I want to do with each. But the key thing is, I have to decide what to do with these 5 cards before I pick up the other 5 for this turn. I don't get to see what that second set of cards looks like. World Congress is very expensive, and because I don't have a vested interest in collecting financiers, I don't know if I want to commit to this early on. I am committing to yellow cards, kind of, but this is 6 gold. And right now I'm not producing gold, and none of the cards in my hand are going to. So I'm not that interested in that. The Bermuda Triangle could be fun. It produces science, which, you know, beefs up what I'm doing. But, and it gets me a Crystallium if I build it. Now, I am going to construct at least 1 research center, because that is going to give me 2 science. So that's a no-brainer to me. Do I construct the second one? Don't know. I mean, it would give me a lot of science very quickly. But I'm not producing energy yet, and I don't have a means currently of producing energy, which means I may not be able to build it unless my next set of cards either has something that's going to produce energy early in the sequence, or has a energy cube giveaway. So I think I'm actually going to discard this research center to take a science cube and place it onto my universal vaccine. Because now, even if I don't build this research center and start producing more science, I will already produce enough science to complete the universal vaccine research project. And then these 2. I'm very tempted by the Bermuda Triangle. And taking that early on is good, because it kind of gives me that run at the exploration resource that I need to know that I'm going for that. But I think I'm actually going to discard these 2. I'm going to draw 4 cards from the top of the deck, and I get to keep 1 of them. Roswell. Interesting. So I could build Roswell. That costs me 6 exploration, but it gives me a general, it produces a science, and every general is worth an extra point at the end of the game. So this would make generals worth 2 points for me, which is potentially very good. The Propaganda Center is 3 gold. It gives me a general, and it will then produce 1 gold for every yellow card that I have, including itself. So it starts off producing 1 gold, but if I build more yellow stuff, more project cards, I will start getting more gold from this card. The Airborne Laboratory costs me 3 energy, and it will produce a science and an exploration resource. Black cards are vehicles, just to fill that gap in. And the Lost Continent of Mu is 6 exploration. So again, same as Roswell. It will give me 2 Crystallium for completing it. It produces a gold every turn, and it is 2 points for every discovery card that I have at the end of the game. Interesting. Because I want yellow cards, I'm actually tempted by the Propaganda Center. But again, I don't have a means of producing gold yet. But you know what? I'm going to play it. I'm going to take the Propaganda Center, and I discard 1, 2. Hang on, what did I do? Right. So I've built 2 cards. I discarded 1 for its resource, and I discarded the last 2 of my hand to draw 4. Did I just draw 4 cards or 5 cards? 4 cards, yes, that's right. Draw 4 cards and keep 1. So here are the 3 cards that I've committed to for this round. I now pick up a second stack. I'm going to pick up this one. Just doing these at random. And I get 5 new cards, and I do this again. After this, that is going to be the end of my planning for the first round, and I'm going to produce all the resources, and I'll talk about that in a second. So, here's the underground city. It's 3 materials and 3 gold. It gives me a Crystallium. It produces 4 resources, 2 materials and 2 energy every turn. And it's worth 3 points, but my goodness, that's expensive to build. Virtual reality requires 5 science, and it gives me a gold for every science card that I have. So that would be interesting, because I've already got an incentive to get science cards in my player power bonus scoring. And I've got an incentive to get project cards with my universal vaccine. So it's interesting, the idea of building this guy, because it's going to serve both. And now, that's not to say that all project cards cost full amounts, like tons and tons and tons of gold. They obviously, as you've seen, they cost other things as well. But that's an interesting option. The Offshore Oil Rig requires 3 materials and an exploration, and it gives me an energy and a gold. That's interesting. It also gives me a general as soon as it's built. But it's also worth an energy to discard, which would get me this research center quicker. Underwater City, 2 energy, a science, 2 gold, gives me a science and 2 exploration, and is worth 3 points at the end of the game. That's pretty good. And another research center. I don't think I'm going to build the underground city just yet. So I think I'm going to discard that for the energy, and I'm going to put the energy onto the research center. Do I build virtual reality? It sets up a really good a really useful what's the phrase? Sort of beginning of an engine for me by producing gold based on science, which are kind of the 2 things that I'm interested in right now. I don't think I need another research center. I'm already producing a lot of science. I'm going to discard the research center to put another research onto the universal vaccine. Now, this means I'm currently overproducing for the science that I need, which might also be an incentive to get this, because all extra science will just get dumped on here to slowly turn into crystallium. I'm trying to decide if I want either. I'm interested in virtual reality. Trying to decide if I want either of these, because the other thing I could do is I could discard and draw in the hopes that I either get a really good card or a card I can discard to produce materials. Because right now my research center is not going to complete this round, and that's kind of annoying because it means at the end of the first round, currently, I'm not going to build anything, and I don't really like that. So I think I'm going to discard both of these cards in the hopes. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the hopes that something... Right, okay, so I can do that. Let's just have a quick look at what we've got. First up, time travel. This costs 5 science and 3 crystallium and is worth 15 points at the end of the game. I really want to take that because that's a really good card. That's a quarter of the score required to win. But I don't think I can. I need to start my engine, otherwise I'm going to be sorely troubled at the end of this turn. Parallel Dimension, also an amazing card. 3 science, 4 exploration, and a general. It gives me 3 crystallium when I complete this discovery, and it's worth 3 points per science card at the end of the game, which turns my Pan-African bonus into a total of 5 between these 2 cards for every science card that I build. That's big. Secret Society is 3 gold and a crystallium, and it gives me 1 extra point for every financier that I have. Sorry, I'm not holding these up very high, which is interesting. And finally, the Tank Division. 1 material and 2 energy, and it gives me an exploration, but also a bonus general. But I can discard this for materials. And absurd as it seems, that's actually what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have taken the Tank Division, and I'm immediately discarding it to put a material onto my research center. Because otherwise I'm not building anything this turn. That means I'm definitely going to put virtual reality out, because I'm seriously overproducing science now. And that is the end of my second round of play. I've got 4 cards here that I've committed to, but I'm going to struggle to build more than 2 of them right now. So here's how this now works. We start at the left side of this board, and you'll notice the board is a giant arrow. We progress from left to right, producing resources. So the first things first, I'm going to produce materials. This column here, currently non-existent other than this card, tells me what I produce every round. So here at the bottom, you can see I produce 2 materials. So I take 2 materials. I can choose to put these on my Empire if I want and go for crystallium, but I've no interest in doing that. It's not going to benefit me. I'm going to place them here on my research center. Now the research center is complete. I've paid the 4 resources it costs. I put them back, and I add this to my queue. Note, I have not yet produced science for this round, which means I'm going to get that science. If this card was going to produce materials, which we've just produced, I would not get them this round. Alright? So you can't retroactively produce resources, but you can proactively produce resources, if that makes sense. I am going to then produce energy. I don't make any, so I skip that. Then I produce science. Well, I make 4 science. So I take 4 science. I'm going to put 1 on the universal vaccine and complete it. And I'm going to put 3 onto virtual reality. Now, when did I discard to do that? Just want to look at the cards I just tossed away. I'm trying to remember if I discarded for universal vaccine this turn or last turn. Because I produced that. Let me just have a look. I tossed that away for the 1 science that I put there. I tossed those away. Then that came out. Yeah. I actually can't remember now. It might have been a better move for me, and we'll see if this comes back to bite me in the backside. It might have been a better move for me. I'm going to do this because I think I was so busy describing things, I think I made a serious error. I'm going to put the 4 science I produced on virtual reality because I'm pretty sure I discarded to put my 2nd science onto universal vaccine with my 2nd set of cards. I really hope that's true. Because it would have made more sense for me to go onto the virtual reality card. Because this produces something, and this does not. I'm hoping I'm right about that. That means I can create virtual reality, so I'm going to put that out into play. And now, the next step is I produce gold, and I produce 1 gold for every science card that I have. I have 1... research card, sorry. I have 1 research card, so I produce 1 gold that is then going to go onto my propaganda factory. Now you see my logic. If I produce the universal vaccine this round, that's great and everything, and I've banked points, but points don't matter until the end of the game. What you produce does, and working towards this thing that I've already committed to is important. I hope I just played that right. If I did not, there will be a note in... if you're watching this on YouTube, by the way, please look at the Klingon subtitles. They will include any mistakes that I've made in this, and I will note there if I have just made a mistake by doing that. Alright, that's the end of... oh, and then I produce exploration, but I don't produce any. So that doesn't happen. That's 1 full turn of the game. We do 3 more of those and then score up. So there we go. I'm going to take this deck of cards and start again. So we have another offshore oil rig, but again, that requires exploration, which I currently don't produce. Super sonar requires 4 science. It's a point at the end of the game, and it produces an exploration for every vehicle card that I have. Well, I haven't committed to any of those yet. Zeppelin, this is nice and easy because it only costs 2 energy, and it produces an exploration. That's really quite nice. The giant tower is 2 materials, 3 gold, and a financier, and it's worth 10 points at the end of the game. Well, for me, if I build everything I've got, it's actually going to be worth 11, because the universal vaccine will make it worth an extra point. That's actually quite tempting. Ah! Recycling plant. Costs me 2 materials, gets me 2 materials. I really wanted one of these last round. Now, note what I said. If you build something during or after the phase where that resource is produced, you don't get it. So if I build this now, I will not get these 2 materials this turn. Unless I can find a way to build this by tossing, for example, away for material bonuses before I start producing resources. I am going to put that into my area because I do want to produce more materials. Energy's a big thing. I don't produce any energy. I do want exploration, probably. I am interested in the idea of this giant tower, because 10 points is pretty good. Do I take that? It's the only one of its kind. It's not super expensive, and I will start producing more money once the propaganda center is up. Yeah, I'm going to take the giant tower. I'm going to take the Zeppelins so that I can start producing exploration. And I'm going to... I don't need exploration yet, that's the problem. I was going to say I'm going to discard the offshore oil rig for the energy, but then if I keep this, it's not going to be worth a lot because the Zeppelin is the only building. I mean, maybe it's worth it. Just keep all of the cards this round except for this one. This one I want to discard because I want the energy for my Zeppelin because I don't produce it any other way. The other thing is, if I could find enough materials to build the recycling plant before I produce materials, I could discard this for the exploration and put this into play to start getting money and energy produced, because I don't produce energy right now, and that's a bit of a setback. And these are the kinds of delicious dilemmas that this game puts forth. How do I know what is going to be valuable to me moving forward? The other thing is, though, this is worth a point on its own, and it's worth an extra 2 points at the end of the game, and it produces me an extra gold every turn for having built a science card. So you see my challenge. You know what? I could build this round and start generating exploration as long as I've built my Zeppelin. I'm going to put Super Sonar into my area, and I'm going to discard the Offshore Oil Rig for an energy. This is quite ambitious, but I need to have a better turn than I did last round. Let's draw this deck here. What do we got? Quantum Generator. Oh, now I wish I hadn't played the Super Sonar. 5 science, and it produces 3 energy. That's massive. And it's worth a point at the end for every vehicle card that I have. That is massive. Unknown Technology. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 science and a Crystallium, and it's worth 3 points at the end of the game for every science card that I have. That's pretty big too. The Industrial Complex is just like the Research Center, but it produces a material and a gold. Tempting, but don't really care. Cities of Gold. 4 exploration to produce 3 gold every turn. Thematic, I like it. I love how thematic this game is. Like, everything makes sense in what it costs, and everything makes sense in what it produces. And finally, another Zeppelin. Okay, well, that makes that thing tricky. I don't have anything requiring exploration now. And if I want to produce... So I'm not going to get my recycling plant out unless I throw most of these cards away and get lucky. I'm not going to get my recycling plant out this round to start producing materials. I'll get it for next round. I could discard the Quantum Generator to guarantee I get the Zeppelin. In which case, I kind of want to play Cities of Gold, because I'm going to be producing an exploration resource, and I want somewhere to put it. Unknown Technology is nice. I could have that as like a big thing to work towards. The Industrial Complex, I think I'm going to discard the Industrial Complex to actually put money onto the Propaganda Center. And I will be able to build that this round because of my virtual reality production bonus. I'm going to discard the Quantum Generator. I hate to get rid of that because it's a good card, but I'm not planning on going vehicle heavy this game. At least it doesn't look like I am. So the scoring bonus isn't going to be worth as much. That means my Zeppelin is complete. I've got 2 energy. I immediately build it. Now, that doesn't matter too much. If I was producing energy, I would have built it before exploration anyway, but given that I'm not, that means I will get that exploration this turn, so I am going to put Cities of Gold into play, because I need 4 exploration for it. Do I go for the enormous Unknown Technology? The interesting thing is I don't have many ways to produce science. I am getting 4 every round, but there's nothing on the table right now that's going to give me more. Interesting. So the reason I'm wondering about this is I'm either going to get rid of the Zeppelin to give me the exploration to go on Cities of Gold, or I'm going to discard both of these cards to draw 4 and hope for the best. But if I get rid of the Zeppelin, I'm playing Unknown Technology. But I do already have quite a lot of science to produce, and I'm just not sure which the best move is. Or I could discard it for its science and work towards completing the combination of Super Sonar and Universal Vaccine. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to discard this. I like it. I would like to play it. But I'm going to put that science onto... doesn't really matter. I produce 4 science. I'm going to put it onto Universal Vaccine because I'm going to produce the 4 that Super Sonar needs. And I'm going to discard the Zeppelin to put this onto Cities of Gold because... why did I just do that? I'm still only going to produce 2, so I won't get Cities of Gold this turn. You know what? That's okay. That's okay. So, that's my 2 hands of cards again. on we move with production. So I still only produce 2 materials, which is annoying. I'm going to put them into the recycling plant. It is now complete. I immediately build it. But because I have already produced materials, I do not get these 2. I'll get them next round. Shame, but there we go. I produce energy. Well, no, I don't actually. I don't produce any of that yet. I produce science. I get 4 science again. And I'm going to put all 4 onto the super sonar, which builds it immediately. Still no immediate bonuses. There is one here on the propaganda center, but still nothing yet. Now I produce gold, and I produce 1 gold per science card, which means I produce 2. So I put 1 on the propaganda center, and then I'm going to place 1 onto my giant tower. Propaganda center is complete. That goes into my area, and that gives me a general. So I now have a general. And finally, I produce exploration. Well, I produce 1 for my vehicle card, and then I produce 1 per vehicle card that I have, which is 1, so I get 2. So Cities of Gold will be finished next round. And thus far, this engine is not as big as I would like it to be. We'll see how this goes. That's that round complete. Oh, I'm not turn tracking. That was round 2. So now we go on to round 3. And I'm going to draw this deck of cards. So we got a tank division. Materials, okay. Another research center. 2 icebreakers. There's 4 in the deck, and I just got 2 of them. These are interesting. They cost 3 energy and a science, and they give me 2 exploration. Potent, but I'm not producing any energy at all, still. So I'm not sure how useful that is to me. And the Harbour Zone costs 5 gold, gives me 2 financiers flat out, and then is worth 2 materials and 2 gold every round. I don't have enough to produce. This is all not that great for me right now. Grr. Grr is the operative word. Right now I'm producing 4 materials and I only have space for 2 of them, so I kind of want to play out something else, but I don't produce energy, and right now I don't have anything I can discard to get energy. I'm going to toss the 2 icebreakers, because without producing energy they're going to be really hard to build. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get climate control, 5 science, gives me 2 energy and a gold. Atlantis is worth 2 points for every general that I have. Well, I don't seem to be collecting many of those. These are easier to get, potentially, in multiplayer, because you get supremacy. Everybody gets a supremacy bonus every round, unless you're tied with... If there's a tie for most supremacy of a resource, so let's say 2 people are tied on the most gold, nobody gets it. But these are trickier to get. So Atlantis, and it's also 7 exploration and a crystallium. I love that card, but I don't think it's going to be productive for this game. The nuclear plant, 4 materials and a science, gives me 3 energy. Well, that suddenly seems very interesting. And the military base is kind of like another research center, but it gives me 1 material and 1 science. I'm taking the nuclear plant, because I can build that this round, no questions asked, and then I'm going to start producing 3 energy. That's really interesting. That means I now want something that needs energy. So I'm tempted to play out the tank division, actually. Gets me an extra exploration. Or I could just put... You know what? If I also went for this guy, I'm not going to build him this round, but I would get the supremacy bonus for science next round guaranteed, because I'd be producing 6. That's an interesting option too. Challenges. 5 gold. Right now I produce 3 gold a round. And I need 2. But if I build the giant tower... You see the kind of challenges this game presents. Knowing what to do is really, really tricksy. I'm genuinely interested in this Harbour Zone. The problem is I kind of wouldn't reliably be able to build it until the giant tower is on the board, and I can't put the giant tower on the board until I've earned myself a financier. I am not on track to get one of those unless I can produce more materials. Which I would get with this, but then I would also get 2 financiers, so it becomes redundant. It's so hard to know what to do. The Harbour Zone is a nice card, and it's worth 2 points at the end of the game, which isn't worth... You know, you don't sniff at that. I will point out, by the way, I never said I was good at this game. We'll see what this score ends out being. Yikes. I need something that needs energy. I'll probably draw something that needs energy, but I'm going to be wasting it if I just draw it now. Do I just get rid of 2 of these cards and see what comes up? Yeah, I think I do. It's so difficult to only get 3 cards in a hand. But I think I'm going to toss the Harbour Zone and the Tank Division to draw 4 more cards. Aircraft Carrier, 4 energy, 3 materials, gives me 2 generals and an exploration for every vehicle card that I have. I still only have 1. The Gravity Inverter is 4 science, an energy, and a Crystallium. 2 points per project card, and it gives me a Financier. The Financial Center also gives me a Financier, produces gold. And the Island of Avalon gives me 4, it costs 4 exploration, it gives me 7 points, and it produces a science. And I can discard for materials, science, or gold. Oh, and the cat's come to say hello. Oh my goodness, Timmy. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my cat on stream. And he's not interested in being shown on stream. Never mind. Jen says this looks like me when I'm trying to figure out where to build my next city when playing Civilization. Do I want to settle on the coast for the amber, or do you want to settle near the hills for the coffee? Yeah, absolutely. This game's a lot of thought. I'm curious. So the way this works in multiplayer is obviously you kind of do simultaneous drafting because you're drawing from a hand as it goes around the table, but you also play, like, you do your planning phase simultaneously as well. Which I feel like is a good thing, because I feel like I take forever trying to decide what to do in this game, because it's such a challenge, and solo mode particularly is such a puzzle. Which one of these do I want? I mean, the gravity inverter is great, but that also means I have to generate a crystallium. I mean, I am producing a bunch of resources I don't need right now. Or am I? No, not that many, actually. I do produce enough science to get it, eventually. It's the other thing, I kind of want to produce another science so I can start getting supremacy bonuses, because I'm not getting many of those, which is the whole point of wanting another research center. Yikes. Let's build... I love how the financial center is basically a church, but for money. It's such a cool card. I love the... look at this. Look at the artwork. It's beautiful in this game. Absolutely love it. Okay, I'm going to... I need something that costs science. I'm producing too much science. I think I'm going to play the gravity inverter. It will get me the financier I need for the giant tower. I kind of need those 10 points on the board, because right now I don't think I'm doing very well on points. Research center. Do I want more science? Let's see. If I'm going to get the nuclear plant to produce energy, which I think is probably a good move, I wouldn't be building this until next round. And I already need materials for the giant tower. I'm going to discard this to produce the science needed to get the universal vaccine, I think. No, I'm going to put this on the gravity inverter because I made that mistake before. The universal vaccine is not useful to me until the end of the game. The gravity inverter could be. Alright, next hand of cards. Bionic Grafts. 5 science gives me a general, produces 2 materials. Bah! Supercomputer. 4 science, produces science. And gives me a point for every vehicle card. Interesting. Offshore oil. Here's energy. I could put that No, I'm going to be producing energy. I don't need it. We'll see. Genetic upgrades is 4 science. Gives me 2 financiers out the gate. Ah. That is interesting. Because if I got this, that would give me the financier I need for the giant tower. But I don't... And then tank division again. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'd also get a financier if I did the offshore oil rig. That requires 3 materials. Currently I'm producing 4. And I'm not going to produce any more in time. Unless I build bionic graphs right now, which I can't do. You know what? I'm going to start getting a science bonus soon, I think. So I'm actually going to not worry about the giant tower right now. One, two, three, 4 science being produced currently. Alright, I'm going to discard those extra materials. Will be so helpful with the bionic rafts. 4 points. Yeah. Offshore oil rig gives me a gold. I'm already producing 3 gold. And I don't really need a lot more right now, especially with what's in my hand. I'm going to discard the offshore oil rig to produce the energy that's required by the gravity inverter. Which means I'm now producing a ton of excess. Maybe I'm not, actually. I'm just going to take that back. What I might do is end up discarding that card to draw more. Genetic upgrades is worth 3 points and gives me 2 financiers. That is genuinely quite tempting. But no, I don't think I'm going to do that. So I think I'm going to discard genetic upgrades to get science needed by the nuclear plant. Because I can then focus my science efforts. Like right now I would create both of those science cards and that would get me a lot more gold. Which, while I don't need it, would allow me to convert into crystallium fairly easily. The way you think about what to do in this game is the way I think about what I want to do in any game I play. Yeah, that's fair, Jen. Very fair. Okay. I need to start making decisions. This is getting silly. So I've done that for the science. I'm going to discard the tank division and the... Tank division and supercomputer to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see what I get. Mega drill costs energy, gives me a material and an exploration. I mean, that would be quite nice. Okay. Military base we've already seen. Satellites, 2 energy, 4 science. Gives me a general, 2 exploration and 3 points. And another financial center. I'm actually going to build the mega drill. Because it will get me extra exploration, and then I won't build it in time to get it this round, but the following round I will get the supremacy bonus for materials. And right now, single points are kind of critical. I'm going to discard bionic graphs for the material. And the offshore oil rig. I don't need energy. No, I am going to discard that for the energy for the gravity inverter. Let's start building stuff. That's the name of the game. I need to start doing it more. Okay, that's that hand complete. So, I produce materials. I produce 4 of those. And all 4 of them are going straight on the nuclear plant. That finishes the nuclear plant. So that goes into play. Now I produce energy, and finally I actually do. I produce 3. So 2 are going on the mega drill, and 1's going onto my empire, because I don't have anywhere to put it. It's the first time. Wow, 3rd round, and that's the first time I've done that. Mega drill is complete. So this goes into play. Now I produce science. I produce 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, not getting these supremacy bonuses is killing me. 3 of those go on the gravity inverter. 1 of them goes on the universal vaccine. So universal vaccine is finished. I can't quite complete this yet because I need a crystallium and I still haven't generated one. I generate gold. I get 1 per science card, which I now have 3 of, plus 1 per project card, which I have 1 of, so I get 4 gold. I need 2 of those for the giant tower, and 2 of them are going to go over here. But I'm actually going to put an extra one on here. Because you can choose to do that. And I'm going to choose to do that for the following reason. I then produce my exploration, of which I get 1... Oh no, I don't need to do that, sorry. I get 1, 2, and then 1 per vehicle card, which is actually an extra 2. So I'm now producing 4. 1 goes on there, and these 3 are going to go on here. And now I get rid of any 5 cubes that are on there to get a crystallium. Because remember, once a cube is here, it's locked here. They become worthless. They become component pieces of one of these. And then I can put that onto the gravity inverter and build it, as well as cities of gold. So that is that sequence done, and I've built these 2 cards. I do get a financier for having built the gravity inverter, and I'm just going to put him here on the giant tower because I know I need him. There we go. And on to the final round. So round 4. Transportation network. 3 materials gets me a point per vehicle. I have 2 vehicles. Okay, not great. We'll see if I do need 2 materials already for the giant tower. The museum costs me 3 gold and is worth 2 points for every project card I have. Well, I only actually have 1. But I produce a surplus of gold, so this is genuinely quite interesting. Another financial center. 4 materials and an energy for 2 gold. Probably not. Another offshore oil. Wow, I'm getting tons of these. 3 materials exploration gives me an energy and a gold. And a solar cannon gives me a general. It's worth a point per general and costs quite a bit. But so that would be worth 2 points for me at the end of the game currently. I am interested in the museum. Currently, I actually produce enough money to build both of these. I'm interested in these 2. I am not interested in these guys, I don't think. I'm going to discard... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I produce 7 gold right now. I'm trying to work out which material, like which of these 3 I want to generate if I get rid of one. Maybe materials. You know what, I produce the least energy. I'm going to discard these 2, and I'm going to discard that for energy, depending on what comes up. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Wind turbines produce... Oh, I wish I'd had one of these earlier on. The recycling plant, again. Espionage agency is interesting. 2 energy and 2 gold for 2 exploration, but right now I don't need exploration. And the secret lab. 2 materials and 3 gold, gives me a crystallium, gets me 2 science, and gives me a point for every science card. Well, that's worth 4 points to me right now. That's going into play. That's just changed very much how I think. So if I do that, that's worth 4 points. This is currently only worth 2. I don't need any exploration, though. And this would only be worth 2. But I also don't need any energy. Well, rats. This is tough. Because right now I need 9 money. I'm producing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Oh, I'm producing 8. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to discard the offshore oil rig for an energy. We'll see if that was worth it or not. Final hand. Another tank division. Another military base. Another tank division. Underwater city again. So I've seen both of these. Not practical with the gold required. And human cloning. It's going to give me... here. Okay, so first thing I know I'm going to do. This gives me money. I don't... have the money to spend to get the money, so I'm just going to discard it flat out to put one of these into play. Doesn't really matter where I'll put it on the museum. And now I'm producing enough money to create all of these cards. I'm going to get rid of a tank division and a military base to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I get Center of the Earth. Requires 2 generals and 5 exploration, but it gives me 15 points. Right now I'm producing 4 exploration, but I could discard for the 5th. And I will get 2 generals. That's very tempting. Recycling plant, meh. Cryopreservation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 science. How much am I actually producing right now? I'm still only producing 4. I'll get up to 6. And Airborne Lab. Yeah, I'm going to play the Center of the Earth. So I have these 2 cards left. I'm going to discard the Underwater City because I now need the extra exploration because I don't produce enough. And that just leaves me with this tank division. Now, right now, I produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 materials. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4. I would need a 5th one for this. And you know what? This is a free gimme. Because I also produce 3 energy and I only need 1. So I'm going to play the tank division. That's going to be the end of my... This goes into the final production phase now. Let's see what happens. So I get 5 materials. Finally, I start getting supremacy bonuses. So I take, because I produced 5 of something, I get the supremacy bonus, which is a financier. And I'm going to go 2 on the giant tower, 2 on the secret lab, and 1 on the tank division. That's going to have built the giant tower. So that financier goes back. Those go back. Those, oops, they don't go there. They go over here. And the giant tower is now in play. That's 10 points. That's good. That's a start. Now I produce energy. I produce 3. 1 is going on the solar cannon. 2 are going on the tank division. So I've built the tank division. That is going to give me a general outright. And now I have the 2 generals I need for the center of the Earth. Then I'm going to produce science. I get 1, 2, 3... I still only produce 4. So even after all that, I never actually got that supremacy bonus for science. I put 1 on the solar cannon, but that's all I actually need. So these 3 are going to go onto my empire. I then produce money, so I'm going to get 1 per science card, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, plus 1 per project, of which I have 2, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I get 9 of those. I get another financier for the supremacy bonus. And I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to put 3 onto the secret laboratory. I'm going to put 3 onto the solar cannon. And I'm going to put 2 onto the museum. This extra 1 goes away. And that is now immediately going to turn those 5 cubes into a crystallium. I have completed the museum. I have completed the solar cannon. That's going to give me a general. And I have completed the secret laboratory. And that's going to give me another crystallium. And finally, the center of the Earth. I need to produce exploration. And I produce 1, 2, 3, plus 1 per vehicle card, which is 4, 5, 6. Wow, I really did not... I could have gone much more. Probably pushed a lot harder. But there we go. That's the center of the Earth completed. So those go back, those 2 go back. And very neatly, with nothing left in my area, this is my final array of cards. So, having done that, that is the end of my game. So now I score. Scoring, I'm just going to reference this just because I haven't played this quite enough to have the scoring in my head yet. It's basically everything you can see. So I get my gross victory points. Now what that means is everything where it's just a flat out number written on a card. So 15, 25, 28, 30, 32. That's my gross scoring. Then I get combo victory points, which are points that are reliant on other things. So for example, 2 per project here. I get 3 per project, 2 per discovery, 2 per research, and 1 per general. So I'm on 32. Actually, you don't do the generals until in a minute. So I'm just going on the rest. So 2 per project. I have 1, 2 project cards. So that's 4 points, so 36. I get 3 per... Sorry, per discovery. I get 3 per project, which is the yellow cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 15, so that takes me up to 51. And then 2 per science. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8, so 59. I then get 1 point per general, plus 1 point for an extra one, so that takes me to 61. And I get 1 point per financier, and I have no bonuses associated with that. So 63. Which, in theory, makes me a dictator. I can rule a country the size of a small town. Except, because I used side A of this card, I subtract 15 from my score, which means I've actually scored 48. So that makes me a rookie. Becoming ruler of the world is not within everybody's reach. Keep trying. Which is, I'm going to be honest, what I've scored every time I've played this game so far. I find pushing this score up in this game with the amount of... Even though you get more cards in single player, it's challenging. It's very challenging. So I've been a rookie every time I've played it so far. Damn, I was hoping I was doing slightly better with those last couple of big cards, but maybe I should have committed really early on to... I had something very early in my game that I discarded that was worth a bunch of points. Can't remember what it was. Oh, time travel with 15 points and things like that. Maybe I should have committed to bigger things like that. And this is the challenge. I haven't quite worked out yet how to pace this game. I've tried different strategies each time I've played. But pacing it is tricky. Maybe I should be discarding cards more often to go through this deck, but because you discard 2 to take 1, you get to do less during the game if you do that. This is a fascinating challenge. I love it. I really, really love it. You don't get any points, incidentally, for any leftover materials, so all of this worth nothing. Well, there you go. We live and learn. So that is It's a Wonderful World. That was fairly quick. I played that in about 40 minutes. So I'm actually going to say, because that was a fairly short stream, I'm going to play this once more. I won't talk it through perhaps quite as much as I did. But I want to make sure that, you know, there's a nice bit of exposure here. And I'd like to see if I can better that score. So I'm going to play through it one more time. Probably take me about half an hour, so... Shouldn't be too long, but will give you, hopefully, some different stuff. Now, you do see a lot of the same cards come up. Despite the size of this deck, you know, if there's 7 of something, it's quite frequent that you see the same thing come up more than once. So don't be surprised if we see a reasonable amount of the same stuff come back up. But I'm also going to... I've deliberately shuffled together batches of cards we have seen and cards we haven't seen. So, actually, I'm just going to do a couple of cuts of the deck. So hopefully we'll see a nice blend of new cards and cards we haven't seen yet. Alright, I'm not going to play Pan-African Union, I'm going to play somebody else, just to change it up. Actually, you know what, I'm going to play on the B-side. I've never played on the B-side before. Let's just throw out more challenges. So I'm going to play the Republic of Europe on the B side. So that means I start with set resources that are the same for everybody. Oh, yay! Thank you for resubscribing, Jen. Has it been 3 months already? Yeah, I guess it must have been. That's crazy. Well, thank you for the resubscribe. Wow, that means I've been an affiliate on Twitch for 3 months. Woo! Exciting. Alright, so yeah, we're playing on the B-side. Now, playing on the B-side means I do not subtract those 15 points at the end of the game, but I also don't have, like a player power score. Now, interestingly, I would have actually scored higher in that previous game, because I only got 8 points off my player power, which means I'd had a net gain of 7 playing on this side. But also, I'm generating different resources to begin. I'm starting with 2... materials, an energy, and a science. So it's a little more balanced in a way, but it might not serve me as well. We'll see. So, 5. I'm going to do the same layout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, you know what I am going to do? Until this game moves on a bit, I'm going to bring myself up to the other corner. Because it's not until the very end of the game, when there's only a couple of these decks left, that this column gets that tall. 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you can see all the decks. Just so you know I'm not cheating, because I'm not, but... It's so funny, when I was a kid and I was playing board games, I used to find any way I could to sneak an edge for myself, because, you know, playing Monopoly or something like that with a bunch of grown-ups, because we played by the proper rules, which not many people do, but we did. You get slaughtered because you don't really understand strategy when you're 8, playing with a bunch of people who've got their own mortgages already and all that kind of thing. Nowadays, board games to me are sacred. I would never cheat in a board game in a million years. Make mistakes, sure, and on stream it's very possible I give myself advantages because I lose track of what, like earlier on in that, where I wasn't sure if when I played that science cube, I lose track of what I've done. Because I'm busy also trying to, you know, hold the conversation and describe everything I'm doing. If I get myself sidetracked, I lose my place. But I would never knowingly cheat in something. It's just become completely sacrosanct for me that doesn't happen. Anyway, so first hand, we have the museum again, so that would be committing me to projects, which is quite nice, actually. Underground City isn't a bad place to start working towards because of the huge resource output of this card. And it gets me a free Crystallium. The problem is I do need to find ways of getting gold early, because right now I don't have a means of getting it, but I might commit to that. Tank Division, it's always nice to have early exploration, and I actually produce energy this time. The Giant Tower, early on, not bad, doesn't produce anything, it's a commitment. And the Zeppelin. If I play the Zeppelin, yeah, I mean, that's not terrible. Also gives me exploration. This gives me a general, though, which is quite nice. I'm going to commit to the Underground City early on. I'm going to go bigger in this game. I think that's where I'm falling, is I'm shying away from going bigger. Money. Do I want to commit to... No, I don't want to commit to producing more money, because I'm already producing... Yeah. I'm going to discard the Giant Tower on the museum to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4... Center of the Earth again, genetic upgrades, the supercomputer, and the submarine. Wow, I drew a hand of almost exclusively stuff we saw in the... I did shuffle everything together, and so I knew I was going to draw some repeat cards. I do generate a science right now, and I'm currently not playing anything to do with it. Let's play out... I want to focus on generation early, so let's play out the supercomputer. Discard the rest of them. Okay, what does that mean? I still don't... The problem is... This is the trouble with getting the Zeppelin early on, is I discard it for exploration. I don't have an exploration card. And because I can't pick up the second hand yet, if I discard it, it just goes straight to here. But I kind of would like the tank division, because the tank... No, you know what? I'm going to go the logical route. I'm going to play that. I'm not going to worry about the general, and I'm going to discard the tank division for the material that it produces. And I'm going to put that on the Underground City, because the faster I can get that out, you know, the better, basically. Jen says, as a kid, you go around the Monopoly board for $200 upon passing go and trying to buy Boardwalk and Park Place. Fair. Fair. You do. It all becomes about owning those 2 major properties without realize, and of course you don't realize the strategy is own lots of properties so people keep landing on your stuff. You keep trying to save up for the big fancy ones because they're cool. I will say, though, I don't know the Monopoly board in North America, so I'm not sure which one of those is the more expensive, but I think it's Park Lane and Mayfair. I think it's Mayfair is the more expensive one on the British Monopoly board, and owning Mayfair with a hotel on it and having somebody land on it is such a sweet feeling. It really, really is. They're like, oh, I'm going to get my $200. No, I owe you like $3,000. It's spectacular. Okie doke, what have we got this time? Super Sonar. Exploration again. But it's going to take me a while to get... I need something that produces science. Okay, Secret Laboratory. Oh, but it's gold again. Darn it. You know what? I'm actually going to put out the industrial complex. It's going to delay my Underground City a minute, but I'm not going to get to build it this round anyway, and that's going to start getting me more money. The Zeppelin. I don't want 2 Zeppelins, really. I'm going to discard the recycling plant to put a material on the industrial complex, because now I can build it this round. What do we got left? Oops. Secret laboratory is nice, but it's more gold that I'm still not generating, so I'm going to discard it for the science to go onto the supercomputer. Zeppelin and super sonar both give me exploration. I'm going to discard them both. I'm going to draw 4. Let's see what we get. Recycling plant, tank division, financial center, and espionage agency. I don't care about the espionage agency right now. I might discard one of these for either money for the underground city. You know what? I need to start getting money. I'm going to discard take the financial center and immediately discard it for money, just to start building towards that. Okay. This is going to be a slightly slower first round, but that's okay. I'm going to build. Oh, yes, that was it. So I'm going to get 2 materials. They're going on the industrial complex. So I'm not going to put them on the underground city yet. Then I'm going to get an energy, and that's going to build the industrial complex. So this goes into my area. I'm going to take a science to put on the supercomputer. I am going to get the money to go onto the underground city, so I will build that next round, unless I go completely off where I'm thinking right now, and I don't get any exploration on this first turn. Boardwalk is the most expensive one on the North American board. Okay. Or Bridle Path on the Toronto version, if you remember correctly. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay. Let's take this deck. Oh, the Mega Drill. Nice card. Too much going on right now, I think. Offshore Oil Rig. I mean, it would give me something to throw exploration onto. Neuroscience gives me points per science card. I mean, maybe. The Propaganda Center. I'm going to generate 1 money this round. So what do I need to... I'm trying to get... I need 1 extra science and 1 extra energy right now to build what's on the board. I could discard neuroscience, and that would build me the supercomputer this round. Or I could try and get neuroscience, because that's a lot of science production. But I would not get it this round for sure. I don't actually need the nuclear power plant, because I'm about to get a ton of energy from the underground city. I'm going to put out the Mega Drill. And then I'm going to discard the nuclear plant to put an energy onto it. Do I want the offshore oil rig? That's really tempting. The only thing is, I already want to put my energy onto the underground city and the Mega Drill. I think I'm going to say no. I'm going to discard that for energy. So I'm going to get the Mega Drill this round. Then do I want to commit to neuroscience? Or do I want to guarantee I get the supercomputer this round? Neuroscience is a good card. 1 science for every science card you have, but I don't know what my focus is going to be in this game yet. It's 3 science. And if I build it, I'm currently not going to get the supercomputer this round. So no, I'm going to discard it. I'm going to put the science onto there, which leaves me with the propaganda center, which I could discard for money. Now, the nice thing about that is if I did that, I would get the energy from the underground city this round, because I will have built it in the materials production phase. So I'm actually going to do that. That may have been a bad move. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going a little bit more pushy in this game, I think. Another Zeppelin! And, oh, there's another offshore oil rig. Okay. Virtual reality is quite nice. The icebreaker would be quite pleasant. I would get that next round. Offshore oil rig. I'm going to put the offshore oil rig into play, and then I'm going to discard the Zeppelin. Oh, no, I'm going to get the Zeppelin this round. Do I really want to do that? Trouble is, I don't have any discovery cards. I'm not going to discard the Zeppelin, actually. I'm going to discard the Zeppelin and the military base. So go 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I have a project? I do not. This is incredibly annoying. Lunar base is nice. 10 points. 2, 2, 2 and a crystallium. I don't make money still, but it's reasonable to assume I'm going to find a way. Well, I will start making money with the Offshore Oil Rig. Sure, let's put the lunar base into play. We'll see what happens. Do I want to build virtual reality? Virtual reality will start getting me money for research cards, which is nice. Or I could put it at the icebreaker, because I'm going to be creating quite a lot of energy. I'm going to play the icebreaker. And I'm going to discard virtual reality for the gold, which is going to go onto the lunar base. Okay. Materials, I produce 3. I'm going to put 1 on the mega drill, 2 on the underground city, and I've built both of them. So the mega drill goes out. Oh, I realized I should have taken a financier for the industrial complex. I missed that. So there's the mega drill. The underground city gives me a crystallium, which is nice. Now I produce energy. Should do that. And energy-wise, I produce 1, 2, 3. I know I want to build the supercomputer this round, so I'm not going to put the energy on the icebreaker, because I'm not going to produce the science it needs. I'm going to put 2 on the Zeppelin and 1 on the icebreaker, I think. I'm not going to commit the crystallium to the lunar base just yet. Science, I produce 1. That finishes the supercomputer for me. So I will now produce 2 going forwards. Gold, I produce 1. That goes onto the lunar base. And exploration, I produce 1. Oh, I finished the Zeppelin, sorry. Exploration, I produce 2. And I'm going to put 1 onto the Offshore Oil Rig, and the other one, unfortunately, goes onto my Empire card. That's not bad, I'll take that. Alright, what do we got? Oh my lord, I want projects. No, I want discoveries. Solar cannon. 1 per general. I am going to get a couple of generals in a minute, and this would give me another one, so that would be 3 points pretty quickly. The giant dam is a huge amount of energy to put into play, but I don't know if I need it yet. I mean, I don't know. Offshore Oil Rig's going to give me some. Yeah, maybe not. Industrial complexes, materials, and gold. Secret laboratory could be nice. I am getting 1 money. I'm about to get 2. And the research center for more science. I'm kind of torn between these two. This is a point per science card. And it gives me science. Which would be nice, because I'm only producing 2 right now. I feel like if I do that, I don't do the research center. The giant dam, however, gives me a metric ton of energy, but it's only worth a point. Hum. Hum. I don't think I want the industrial... but do I want the industrial complex? Because it gives me money. It gives me gold. And I don't produce a lot, but I don't need a lot of gold right now either, unless I play one of these. Maybe I do these 2 then. It's a lot of materials, which I don't produce a crazy amount of right. Oh no, actually I do quite... No, I do nicely with materials right now. I'm going to play these 2. I'm going to discard the science so I can definitely complete the icebreaker this round. Well, I mean, I'd do that anyway, but I'll also be able to place the science onto the lunar base that way. Do I want the solar cannon or the giant dam? They turn into energy. I produce 3 energy right now. I'm about to produce 4. No, I'm going to discard these in the hopes that I get a discovery. Because I need... Oh my lord, where are all the discoveries? This is a problem. I'm producing exploration already, but I've got nothing to use it for. Saucer Squadron. You can literally build military flying saucers. Polar base, satellites. Ugh. It's all exploration production and I don't have any discoveries. I feel like maybe I'll play out the research center. Let's just get into generating more science. I know I just tossed one of those away. How much energy am I going to be producing? 1, 2, 3, 4. And right now I need 5. I need something that's worth points. And I don't think points per discovery is a good idea. I'm going to do satellites. I don't produce a lot of science. That might be a difficult thing to achieve. Now, one thing that's worth noting, and I didn't do this in my previous game, you can discard a card once it's gone down here. If I know I'm never going to produce satellites, I could just discard it. But you cannot put this bonus onto a card. You have to put it onto your empire. So it's quite a limiting thing to do. And I don't want to do it unless I absolutely am never going to build something. But it's a nice way of recouping something. Oh my lord, I've got no blue again. Wow, this game is harsh. I might want to sacrifice the wind turbines because I need quite a lot of... Saucer Squadron again. I'm just going to discard that straight out the bat. I'm going to put the science on the lunar base. No, I'll put it on the satellites. It doesn't really matter. I'm doing quite well for materials. I don't care about producing materials. And I don't care about producing that much exploration, so I'm going to draw 4 in the hopes I get a project discovery. There we go! City of Agartha. Or of Agartha, I guess. At least that finally gives me somewhere to put exploration cubes, so I'm going to play that. I don't think... Yeah, I don't think there's a better choice in there. How much do I produce? I produce 2, and I'm about to produce a ton more. Okay, don't care. Wind turbines gives me... I could discard it for an energy, which I do need a reasonable amount of. I'm not going to produce a lot more. Or I could produce both of... I could discard both of these to draw more cards. I'm actually going to do that. I'm just going to go aggressive with this. I said I wondered if that was holding me back. Let's find out. Climate control, 5 science. I don't produce enough science. The nuclear plant seems redundant to a point. The military base. Okay, what do I produce materials-wise? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm just going to discard a card to produce materials. And I'm going to put those on the Offshore Oil Rig, I think. Alright, well there we go, that's that. So, I produce my 6 materials. And I'm going to place 2 on the Offshore Oil Rig. I can't get enough money to create the secret lab without building the industrial complex this turn, so I'm going to put the rest on there and I'm going to put 1 on here. I then produce 1, 2, 3 energy. I'm going to put 2... I produce 4 energy because I have completed the Offshore Oil Rig, which gets me a financier. So I produce 4 energy. I've put 2 onto the icebreaker. I'm going to put 1 on the industrial complex, and I'm going to put 1 on lunar base. So the icebreaker and the industrial complex have both been built. That gets me a financier. I'm getting a nice little financial boon going on over here. Let's produce science. I produce 2. Put that on the lunar base, I think, just because I don't need the extra exploration production right now. And I do want to guarantee I get those 10 points. I produce gold. Gold, I produce 1, 2, 3. Which means I will create the secret laboratory next round. And then exploration, I produce 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is exactly the correct amount, along with this crystallium, so I'm not going to bother picking them up to create the city of Agartha. So my generals are now going to be worth points. I just need to get generals. Okay, final round. What do we got? Super soldiers, wind turbine. Oh, super soldiers is interesting, but it's way too much science. Cities of gold, I'm just going to play out because I need something to do with exploration. Do I want the universal vaccine? Not really. Super soldiers is too much science. Gravity inverter is too much science given how little I produce right now. Wind turbines, I'm already doing quite nicely for energy. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of the super soldiers and the wind turbines to draw 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See what we got. The island of Avalon is 7 points. I mean, that's quite nice. The harbour zone. I mean, I don't have anything to do with money right now. That gets me 2 more financiers, but really generals are more interesting to me right now. Financial centre I don't need. Nuclear plant I don't really need. So I'm going to place out the island of Avalon. And then I don't need money right now, but I do need more science. Currently I produce 2 science. I need 3 science, so if I discard the gravity inverter, I can put science on here. The universal vaccine, the only problem is, well, you know what? I need a crystallium if I'm going to build the lunar base. Oh, I'm going to get one from the secret laboratory. Well, that's fine. I'm going to discard it. I'm going to put that on there because I've got nothing else to do. Final hand. Maybe the game is telling you to become an exploration civilization, or to not be an exploration nation. Yeah, it's... I don't know. I apparently have a lot of pioneers or explorers in my nation and no ships to take them places. Or no hint of where to go looking. Alright, now that I've moved all of those, I'm going to bring myself back down here again. So, oh my lord. Do I even care about any of this stuff? I mean, I'm doing okay. Transportation network would be quite nice. And I need something to do with a metric ton of materials that I produce. Right now I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I produce 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be 7, 8. Oh! Well, I'm going to get a spare crystallium. That's pretty much for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I got 6 materials. Did I take a financier? I don't remember. Did I get the supremacy bonus? I think I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I produced 7 materials. I'm not going to produce any more. That's 3. That would give me 4 extras, which would guarantee me the crystallium, which I do need because I'm actually short. Ironically, have it all game having been short, having not had anything to do with exploration, I'm now short on exploration. But I need a crystallium here, which I will get from this. So I think I'm going to play the transportation network out, because that's already worth 3 points. I don't want to spend more science, because I don't have enough. 1, 2, 3. I don't have anything to do with money right now, but the National Monument is... National Monument is worth 2 points per project, which would end up being worth 8 points if I built it. But then I would not get to build the island of Avalon, which is worth 7 points. But then I have a bunch of excess exploration that I don't have anything to do with. Oof. The problem is if I do this... Oh, yeah, I could discard this for the extra material that I need, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could discard this for the extra material that I need, then I would not be wasting my money. So I would have no spare materials. Energy, I'm going to produce 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need 3. So I'd have 1 extra. I'm just going to do that for a second. Science, I produce 1, 2, and I need 1, 2. Money, I would produce 1, 2, 3... and I would need 1, 2, 3. And exploration, I need all of. So the problem is, if I build these two, I mean, technically that's 9 points, whereas the Island of Avalon is only 7. Or I just don't build Cities of Gold, because I don't need the money and I wouldn't get it in time anyway. Yeah, I'm going to put these two out. And then on the off chance I get something better, I'm going to discard 1, 2, 3, 4. Discard the final 2 cards. You know what, I'm going to put myself back in that top corner for a minute because I'm doing stuff down here. Teleportation would be great, but I do not have anywhere near enough science. That's 8 science. But if I discard this, it gets me an explore, which might... I could do the math. I'm not going to do the math right now, but that might have just given me enough to build everything I've just placed out. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, so material production. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I get the supremacy bonus of a financier, and I get 7 materials. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How did I think this was going to work? Because I didn't discard something for material. Oh, rats! Yeah, I miscalculated. This is worth more than this. That's fine. I'm going to place that into there. I'm going to go 5 on here. And that leaves me 1 left over. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I slightly miscalculated that because I was only looking at new cards, forgetting I needed something, and by drawing that extra card, I've probably got myself more points, but it used up a material I thought I was going to have in my head. That's fine. Energy. I produce 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I need 1, 2, 3. So this goes on here. Okay. Oh, I've completed the secret laboratory also. So this goes into here. I get the crystallium. And that completes the lunar base. And that gets me 2 generals. Science, I produce 1, 2, 3, 4. And I need 5. Oh, I really didn't calculate this properly, did I? You know what, that's not worth an awful lot, so that's going to go on there. And these 2 will go there to guarantee that I get the crystallium that I need. Or to have it as a backup, I guess. No, hold that thought. Let's just see where things are at, because I think I've really thrown myself off here. After this, so if those went there, after this I'm going to create gold. I'm going to get 1, 2, 3, and I need 3. Then I'm going to create exploration, and I'm going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if I do not use those to get crystallium, I don't get a... The reason I'm asking that to myself is because if I place those there and could still get a crystallium somehow, I would be able to build those as well. But no, I can't do that. I don't think the crystallium is actually going to be needed, but I'm going to take it just in case. These guys go away, because I have built my satellites. Now I build gold. I take 3 gold, and that all goes down onto the National Monument, which is immediately completed. And then I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... Ah, I can actually do one thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I built all of those. I'm going to discard... Oh no, that has to go into my empire. Never mind, ignore me. So the crystallium is unfortunately superfluous after all of that, because I miscalculated. But I do get all of those. So I got all my project cards, which is nice. And there we have it. And these guys are worth nothing. So I'm just going to discard them. So... let's see how I did this time. I think probably still not particularly well, but we'll see. So I get 10, 20, 23, 26 in straight up points. I get 1 per vehicle, which I have 1, 2, 3, so that's 29. And I get 1 per science, which is 1, 2, so that's 31. And I get 2 per project, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, so that's 39. I then get 2 per general, so that's 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 45, 46, 43, 40, 44, 45, 46, 47. So I actually got... I don't subtract the 15 points because I'm using the B side, but I actually got 1 less point than I did in the last game. Darn it! I wanted to do better. Well, there we go. That is It's a Wonderful World. I may not be optimizing this game, so don't take this as solid gameplay in terms of being good, but it's fun. I really, really like the puzzle, and I think, you know, you guys have seen the puzzle quite neatly of what this game presents. I really, really like this one. I think this is a fantastic game. I love the artwork, and I think that draws me in as much as anything. Like, some of the cards are just beautiful, and I love, like, the different styles. Like, look at these two. Indiana Jones-esque exploration through to space research. Like, it's great. It's really, really great. And I think it really adds to the theme of what's going on, because not only can you see what something costs, and you can see the ultimate result of it in terms of what it produces for you, but it also gives you a visualization of what the thing is. And it's really good fun. There's a lot of cards in here we did not get to see. You can potentially find Blackbeard's Treasure, which is a nice little exploration card there. It's quite cheap as far as discoveries go. Fountain of Youth, on the other hand, like, gives you extra points for generals and gives you 3 Crystallium, but it costs you 7 exploration. Now, I mean, that would have been great for me this game, but we just didn't see it. And that's the thing. So the solo scenarios in this, I just wanted to sort of touch on. For example, To the Center of the Earth. It says you use the B side of your card, so you have to use the no player power scoring side. And you start having predetermined you are going to build the polar base, a mega drill, a super sonar, and the center of the Earth. And at the end of the game, you win if you have built those 3 cards, and then you score medals based on the number of points. Notice that you get a bronze medal at 70. Now, I mean, that's because you've already drafted 4 cards, so they've given you an advantage, and you've already drafted 4 cards that are worth quite a bit. I just realised that those say PV. And I think that is a hangover from the European... that's a hangover from the European translation, because they are called victory points. So I think that's, I don't know, point victoire, or whatever it would be in French. Anyway, hopefully that's given you a good look at It's a Wonderful World. This, as I say, it's a game I really, really enjoyed. Thank you so much to Lucky Duck for sending me a copy of it to play. I really, really appreciate that, and I had a blast playing it on stream. I'm sorry that I did not show a winning solitaire effort, or at least a better than rookie solitaire effort. But this is a game that I feel like, okay, that last game I just played, I went down a point from my previous score, but up to that point, every game I had played, including the first one on this stream, my score is increasing each time. So, you know, I'm learning the game, I'm getting better. I think this is something that, you know, it's such a fantastic puzzle, and I really, really enjoy going through it. And I just need to keep trying different things and exploring how the game works. Anyway, with that, I'm going to leave you for the day. Thank you so much to everybody for watching. I hope that you enjoyed yourselves and found this entertaining and educational, at least in terms of how to play this game. For now, though, that's that from me. I will say, please do check out some of my fellow streamers. Into the Meepleverse is an excellent stream run by Billy. which sees him and some friends in his bubble playing through other board games. He does an excellent job of presenting. And he's done a couple of solos as well. He soloed Seventh Continent, and I think that's got him very interested in doing more solo games. So check him out, Into the Meepleverse, that's MEEPLEVERSE, on Twitch. And also check out Moyle's Meticulous Minis, that's Moyle, MOYLES, Meticulous Minis. Scott Moyle is an excellent miniature painter and a consummate host, and runs an excellent channel where he does both of those things. He just paints for 5 hours and chats to you while he does it. So I highly recommend you go and check those 2 channels out. For me, do check out my other videos. You can, if you're here on Twitch watching me right now, or if you're on YouTube, head over to Twitch, twitch.tv/onceupon-a-die. You can see it just up here. Please follow my Twitch channel if you'd like to subscribe. That would be incredible. And that will get you access to all of my Twitch content. You'll get notifications, etc. And I do solitaire games. I also do solitaire RPGs, and indeed I'm planning one of those for my next stream. I do have some board games lined up. I've been sent a couple more by publishers, but I would like to keep the variation going. I'm trying at the moment to stream at least once weekly. I also work in the theatre industry, and it keeps being on the verge of picking back up again. So I'm kind of getting this weird thing of do I, don't I, will it, won't it, where the industry kind of sounds like it's going to do something. And so my day job's been a little bit, or not my day job, my other job, I guess, because this is also part of my day job, has been a little bit topsy-turvy, which is why I've been a little bit less frequent recently. Plus last week I had the Indiecade stream of 1000-Year-Old Vampire. I am also going to continue that 1000-Year-Old Vampire campaign on stream, but I do want to play something different first. I have something lined up that I've had in my back pocket for a little while. And then I've got a couple more games that I've been sent that I'm going to play coming up. Also, please go and subscribe to me on YouTube and click the little notification bell so you can know when I put videos up. If all of my Twitch content goes straight onto YouTube, unless I'm unhappy with a technical aspect of it, you know, if I lose the game or screw up the game, I can put Klingon subtitles, so please do watch with Klingon subtitles on. But that just gives me a means of storing all of those videos so that people can watch them later on. So please do subscribe to me over there. And my podcast just came back, at least momentarily. I did an interview with Rob Davio for the recent release 3 days ago now of Pandemic Legacy Season 0. And I interviewed Rob, and that is there's a video interview on my YouTube channel, but the podcast, if you would just like to listen to the audio, there's a slightly cut down. I've cut out some of the ums and ahs that I put in, and some of the pauses and things like that to make the audio listening a bit smoother, and you can listen to it on audio as well. So please check all of those out, and then I also have plans for some more podcast episodes to come out towards the end of the year. So I'll be getting those coming out hopefully shortly. I need to just kind of get the ball rolling on those. They won't be quite the same as what I used to do, but there'll be a nice little stopgap until I can start doing full voice cast acting again. And I think that's everything from me. So I'm going to say take care. I should have made myself bigger. I'll say this just for the purposes of saying farewell. But thank you very much to everybody for watching me today. You guys stay safe, take care, have a good week, and keep rolling those dice until the game is done. Bye for now.